Hello everyone, welcome back. A lot of things happened in sports last week, so let's jump right into it. First, we look at cricket, the Sri Lanka versus India T20I series, which happened in Colombo. In the first ODI, Sri Lanka won the toss and decided to bowl first. They were able to restrict India to a decent total of 164 for 5. Surya Kumar Yadav scored a 50. Shikhar Dhawan was able to chip in with a 46 as well. In Sri Lankan bowling, everybody except Akila Dhananjaya were able to restrict India. Sri Lanka started off okay. They lost a few wickets on the way, but their collapse started in the 15th over. They were bowled out for 126. Bhuvi picked up 4 wickets, and every Indian bowler was among the wickets as well. India easily won by 38 runs. The second T20I was postponed by a day. This was because Krunal Pandya tested positive for COVID 19 and 8 of his close contacts were in isolation as well. His 8 close contacts were his brother Hardik, Shah, Sky, Yuzi, Deepak Chahar, Ishan, Manish Pandey, and Gautam. India agreed to play the remainder of the series with the available players. In the process, they handed out debuts to 4 players: Gaikwad, Padikkal, Nitish Rana, and Chetan Shakaria. Sri Lanka won the toss and decided to bowl again. The Indian team was bowling heavy and they had only 5 batsmen in the team. The batting didn't really click and they scored only 132 for 5. For Sri Lankan bowling, Akila Dhananjaya picked up wickets and he was economical as well. In response, Sri Lanka scored at the required rate throughout the innings. It all boiled down to the last 3 overs and they needed just 30 runs. Dhananjaya De Silva and Karunaratne managed to score that and level the series 1-1. For India, Chetan Shakaria was really expensive. The rest of the bowlers did a really good job. In the third T20I, India batted first again. They got off to a horrible start. They lost 5 wickets in the first 5 overs. They never really recovered from that. Kuldeep Yadav was the top scorer for the team. In the end, they managed a meager total of 81 for 8. Hasaranga had a field day. He ripped through the Indian batting lineup, picking up 4 wickets. Chasing 82 was always an easy task, and Sri Lankans achieved that in less than 15 overs. Indian bowling didn't really trouble the Sri Lankan batsmen. Rahul Chahar picked up all the 3 wickets which fell. Sri Lanka won the series 2-1. This is the first time in several years that Sri Lanka has won a series against India, and they were really elated. There's a lot of praise for the Indian team and their coach Rahul Dravid, who stayed back to complete the series in spite of 8 players being in quarantine. Next, we move on to West Indies vs Australia ODI series. This was a seesaw of a series. The 3-match series was played in Barbados. In the first ODI, Australia won the toss and elected to bat. They had small partnerships going, which kept their scoreboard ticking. Alex Carey, their captain, played really well for a 67. Australia ended with a score of 252 for 9 in 49 overs. Walsh was pick of the West Indies bowlers. He picked up a fifer, which is his best ODI figures. West Indies had a horrible start. They lost 6 wickets for 27 in the 8th over. They never really recovered from that and they were bundled out for 123, which meant Australia won the match by 133 runs. Stark picked up a fifer and was awarded the man of the match for that. In the second ODI, Australia won the toss and elected to bat again. This was Australia's turn for a collapse and they were bundled out for 187. If not for their wagging tail, they wouldn't have managed a score of even 120. For West Indies, Hussain and Joseph picked up 3 wickets each. In response, West Indies were in trouble when they lost their captain Pollard at 72 for 5. But Pooran and Holder's 93-run partnership brought them close to the target. Pooran carried his bat with a 59 not out and also won the man of the match. For Australia, Stark was again the pick of the bowlers, picking up 3 wickets. In the third ODI, West Indies won the toss and elected to bat first. They kept losing wickets in regular intervals and they were bundled out for 152. Only Evan Lewis put up a fight and he carried his bat with a score of 55. Once again, Stark was amongst the wickets, picking up 3 in this match. Chasing 153, Australia was never really troubled in spite of losing a couple of early wickets. In the end, they wrapped the match and the series in less than 30 overs. Australia won the series 2-1. Pollard had a few complaints about the pitch in Barbados, but what really can be done about it? Next up is Zimbabwe vs Bangladesh T20I series. Bangladesh won the series 2-1. Bangladesh won the first match by 8 wickets with 7 balls to spare. Zimbabwe won the second one by 23 runs, and Bangladesh won the third one by 5 wickets with 4 balls to spare. Soumya Sarkar won the man of the match in the first match for his 50 and 1 wicket. Wesley Medawar won the man of the match in the second match for his quick fire 73. Soumya Sarkar won the man of the match again in the third match for his 68 and 2 wickets. Zimbabwe has shown some teeth in the T20I format. They beat Pakistan and now Bangladesh, which is a good sign for them. For the Indian team in England, the positive case of Krunal Pandya put a halt to Sky and Shaw's travel to England. They've been given a green light now and they'll be joining Team India after their quarantine period in England. Yuzi and Gautam tested positive for COVID. They are doing their quarantine in Sri Lanka. All the others have been cleared and they are flying back to India. Do you think Team India is well prepared for the test series against England? Let me know in the comments. Let's move on to the 100. The 100 is the new format which the ECB is testing out this year. It has both men's and women's tournament going on in parallel. The rules for 100, which are different from T20, are there will be 100 balls for each innings. There will be a change of end after 10 deliveries. Each bowler will get to bowl 20 balls, and each bowler can bowl 5 or 10 consecutive deliveries. Each bowling team will get a strategic timeout of 2.5 minutes. The power play will be for 25 balls. The non-striker must return to the original end after a caught dismissal. A no ball is worth 2 runs. There are 8 teams in this tournament. They are Manchester Originals, Northern Superchargers, Birmingham Phoenix, Trent Rockets, Welsh Fire, London Spirit, Oval Invincible, and Southern Brave. The men's and women's team have all the top guns from England. They also have the top players from the county teams. The top international players in the men's draw are Faf du Plessis, Imran Tahir, and Rashid Khan. The top international players in the women's draw are Stefali Verma, Deanda Doughton, and Stephanie Taylor. In the women's tournament, Northern Superchargers are on the top of the table, Southern Brave are second. In the men's tournament, Trent Rockets are on the top, followed by Manchester Originals. I have my doubts about this format becoming popular internationally, but if the BCCI gives into this format, it can really pick up. Next, we move on to the Olympics. First, tennis. Ash Barty lost in the first round to a Spaniard, Sara Tormo. She was defeated in straight sets. Barty did a lot of unforced errors, which is unlike her. Luckily for her, she won the bronze in the mixed doubles along with John Peter after Djokovic withdrew from the bronze match. Naomi Osaka had a shocking third round defeat. After her defeat, she skipped talking to the reporters, and there was a lot of hate towards her for that, which I feel is unwarranted. Belinda Bencic from Switzerland won the gold. Vondrousova from Czech Republic won the silver. Svitolina from Ukraine won the bronze. In men's, Djokovic lost to Pablo Carreno of Spain in the bronze medal match. His dream of winning the calendar Golden Slam were crushed. Hopefully he recovers in time for the US Open. The finals between Zverev and Khachanov will be played today. Let's see who comes on top. In men's basketball, Team USA suffered a defeat against France in the group match, but they won the remaining group matches and they're through to the quarterfinals. In women's football, Team USA suffered a defeat against Sweden, which put an end to their 44-game unbeaten streak. But they're through to the semis now. I'm sure they're eyeing the gold. Australia had some surprise wins in swimming, but they also had some upsets. India's medal hope Mary Kom lost in the round of 16. PV Sindhu lost in the semi-finals, but she still has a chance at bronze. The chances of both Indian men and women's hockey are still alive. Let's see if they can bring in a medal. India hasn't won an Olympic medal for hockey in a very long time. China are on top with 23 goals. USA have 20, Japan have 17, and Australia have 14. With the track and field starting, I'm guessing US will be piling up the medal count. That is all for this week. Next week we have the Hungarian Grand Prix, more Olympics action, Pakistan's tour of West Indies, India kick off their first test against England, Australia's tour of Bangladesh, and more matches of the 100. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Have a great week and stay safe.